The answering machine. The letter arrived on a Tuesday, crisp and official, informing Jordan of his inheritance. His estranged Uncle Silas had passed, leaving him everything. Everything being a dilapidated Victorian house nestled deep in the woods of Maine. Jordan saw it as an escape, a chance to leave behind the city's grime and the ghosts of his past. He packed his meager belongings, a sense of morbid curiosity outweighing any apprehension. The house was exactly as he pictured, imposing, isolated, and desperately in need of repair. Its darkened windows stared out like vacant eyes, promising secrets and shadows. Unpacking was a chore, each box filled with the detritus of a life he barely knew. In the attic, amidst cobwebs and forgotten relics, he found it. An answering machine. It was a relic of the past, a bulky, beige model with a cassette tape nestled inside. He hadn't seen one of these in decades. A wave of nostalgia, mixed with unease, washed over him. Curiosity, that insidious whisper, urged him to plug it in. He found a dusty outlet. The machine sputtered to life, its small LED screen flickering. The display blinked. One new message. A shiver ran down Jordan's spine. Who would be calling this forgotten place? He pressed play. Static crackled, a wall of white noise that seemed to claw at his ears. Then, a voice, distorted and barely audible, cut through the interference. "Don't stay the night," it rasped. "It watches at 3:17. The message ended abruptly, leaving only the hum of the machine and the pounding of Jordan's heart. He dismissed it as a prank, a wrong number, or perhaps just an old message left years ago. Still, a seed of doubt had been planted, a tiny tendril of fear wrapping around his mind. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows like skeletal fingers. The old house groaned and creaked, settling into the darkness. It was 2:45 a.m. A mechanical click echoed from downstairs. Jordan froze, every nerve on high alert. The answering machine. It couldn't be. He crept down the creaking stairs, flashlight beam dancing nervously across the walls. The machine's red light pulsed, a malevolent heartbeat in the silence. Another new message. He hesitated, then pressed play, his hand trembling. The static returned, thicker this time, almost suffocating. "It's almost time," the voice hissed, even more distorted than before. "Stay out of the hallway. No mirrors." The tape hissed, then stopped. Jordan tried to rewind the tape, to erase the message, but the machine wouldn't respond. It was as if it were possessed, determined to deliver its cryptic warnings. The house seemed to hold its breath. Every creak, every rustle of leaves outside the window, amplified in the oppressive silence. It was 3:12 a.m. He couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A prickling sensation on the back of his neck, a sense of unseen eyes boring into him. He had to know. Armed with his flashlight, he ventured into the hallway. The air was cold, heavy with an unnatural stillness. Shadows danced in the periphery of his vision. Then he saw it. At the far end of the hallway, bathed in the pale moonlight filtering through the window, stood a figure, a perfect replica of himself. The doppelganger smiled, a wide, unsettling grin that didn't reach its eyes. Its gaze was cold, predatory. Jordan recoiled in terror. He stumbled backward, heart hammering against his ribs. The doppelganger remained motionless, its smile widening, a silent promise of something terrible to come. He slammed his bedroom door shut, shoving a heavy dresser against it for good measure. It was 3:17 a.m., the time from the message. A soft knock echoed from the other side of the door. A familiar voice, his own, spoke from beyond the wood. "Jordan, it's just a dream. Open the door. Let me in." The voice was calm, reassuring, but something was terribly wrong. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that it wasn't him. It was the thing from the hallway, wearing his face, mimicking his voice. He scrambled into the closet, pulling the door shut behind him. The knocking persisted, growing louder, more insistent. Something scraped along the walls outside, a dragging, scratching sound that sent shivers down his spine. The knocking stopped, replaced by something far more sinister. Whispers, dozens of voices murmuring his name. "Jordan, Jordan, Jordan." They swirled around him, a cacophony of hushed tones that seemed to seep into his very soul. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, building to a crescendo of unintelligible babble. Then, As suddenly as it began, the chaos ceased. Silence descended, heavy and absolute. He huddled in the closet, trembling, listening for any sign of movement. The silence stretched on, an eternity of fear and anticipation. Dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pale pink and gray. He emerged from the closet, weak and disoriented. The house was silent, seemingly normal. The dresser was still pushed against the door, undisturbed. The hallway was empty, the doppelganger gone without a trace. He ventured downstairs, his senses on high alert. Everything appeared as it should be, yet the air was thick with an unspoken dread. Then he saw it. The answering machine. It was on his dresser, upstairs in his bedroom. He hadn't moved it. It was unplugged. He approached it cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. The display was lit, blinking. One new message. He hadn't touched it. He hesitated, then pressed play, bracing himself for the worst. The static crackled, then faded, replaced by a chillingly clear voice. "Next time," it whispered, "it won't knock." The tape stopped, the red light went out, the silence returned, heavier than ever before.